The parent trap of criticizing our children. Is criticism an attempt to control? Yes or no? Yes. It's an attempt to control. Let's look at criticism. It's fault finding. Critical people are unforgiving people. We have a divorce that comes in for counseling. She is complaining every time she comes in. 15 years ago, this woman was offended by her husband at that time. He ran off with a meter maid or something. And she now hates him. And now he's married somebody and he's got another family out here someplace. And this woman is so focused on how rotten a husband he was that that's all she can think about all her life. She comes into counseling and pukes up her venom every time of all the misery and how critical and nasty she has become. She is unforgiving. She is critical. She's living in the past, in the sewer. And this is what I tell her. You have got to forgive that man. And she goes ballistic. Are you crazy? Forgive him. He's the worst person I ever knew. And because he hit, my boys are upside down. They had all kinds of trouble and blah, blah, blah. And on and on and on. I said, you must still really love him. And she just went ballistic again. Love him. I hate him. How can you say that? Come here and pray you and you say stupid things like that. I said, you love him. You won't let go of him. You're holding on to him with your anger. He has more power over you today than he ever did. Tell me how happy you are. I am happy. Well, you don't sound happy. You ought to tell your face. Because you don't look happy either. Is that true? And I said, you've got to forgive him. He doesn't deserve forgiveness. God will condemn him. Everybody condemns him. What he did was wrong. I don't say what he did was right. I do not condone what he did. It was a terrible thing if what you say is true. But it is not up to you to judge him. Forgive him. He doesn't deserve my forgiveness. It's not about deserving forgiveness. It's about you letting it go. It's letting you let go of all this poison. Lady, flush the toilet in your life and move on. You are a dung sniffer. All you do is live in the past and you try to find all the dung. And you go around and you try to sniff out the dung in your life. Forgive him. Not for his sake, for your sake, and go on with your life. He has robbed you of many things, and you're allowing him to rob you every single day of your life of happiness. You have no future. All you have is a rotten past, which you continue to dig up every day and dote over and smell and pick through. And until you forgive him, you are trapped. You are stuck. Now, criticism is the same as unforgiving, isn't it? Think about it a minute. When you're critical, you're not forgiving. When you're critical, it's right in there. It's a piece of the same pie. This time that we're supposed to forgive and forget has nothing to do with the justice of the situation. It has to do with letting go of the misery and the poison of our past and going on with our life, taking a new look and going on. So don't mix it up with, it's not just to forgive. They don't deserve it. They haven't said, I'm sorry, or some other stupid thing. So forget it and move on. These people who are critical are unhappy, miserable people. And people who decide to be critical probably learned it in their family of origin. And when they're critical, they see themselves critically, they see everybody else critically. And the world is a sour, rotten place. These are unhappy people. Do you believe it? Now I make that as an observation, not as a criticism. You let me get away with that? Criticism is rejection. It poisons every relationship. There are no positive effects for people criticizing. You don't change people's behavior. There's no studies to show that criticism is good in any way. It is destructive influence on anyone. It will destroy any relationship. No one can live in constant criticism. And when you're critical of your kids and they sense it, they do not want to be close to you. Because criticism is bad. It's rejection. So stop criticizing. Cease to find fault. Constructive criticism, some people say, well, I just criticize to help people. That's constructive criticism. All right? To justify it. It is a lie, a bold-faced lie. Now, there are other oxymorons like jumbo shrimp. You ever heard of that one? Reasonable attorney fees. Congressional ethics. Family vacation. Mothers, when you go on a vacation, is it a family vacation for you? Is it a vacation, mothers? No, it isn't. You work harder than ever to make everybody happy. One of my favorite, Army Intelligence. That's really got to be a good one. Happily married. My wife put that in. I really didn't know what happiness was till I got married. Of course, then it was too late, you know. But anyway, my wife and I have had 19 years of beautiful married life. And that's not bad out of 39, considering everything. Let's look at this. People who are critical are gloom and doom. They are unhappy and miserable. They are the dung sniffers of life. They are into the blame game. When I'm critical, I'm blaming you. When I'm critical, I'm taking the focus off of me and putting it on you. I'm saying it's your responsibility to change the situation. It's not my fault. And I absolve myself of having to do anything or having to change. Now, some people say that if you're going to criticize somebody, use the sandwich principle. Say something nice, then criticize them, and then say something nice again. So they'll feel good. Kind of like this. I love the way you've done your hair. You look like you weigh 500 pounds in that dress, but I like your shoes. That's what I call a cow pie sandwich. Do you guys know what a cow pie sandwich is? A piece of rye, a cow pie, and a piece of rye. Are you interested? You are not. Now that is just a lie. The criticism of people is destructive, and you have to acknowledge that. Your children do not grow close to you when you're critical, and you alienate everybody. We have got to stop criticism. Criticism is always wrong. Arguing is always wrong. Anger is always wrong. These are parent traps that destroy. All right. What is it worth to you to stop criticism in your home forever? Is it possible? Yes, it is possible. I will tell you a story, a true story in my counseling experience. I was up in a state, in the upper part of the state, and they had me come to do a big seminar. It was a 2-day seminar. And they had me stay in this one home. The committee had decided, because the lady had asked that I stay in this one home. And it happened to be the home of a lady who was going to divorce her husband. And me staying there by accident was going to give them a chance, for me to talk to them and fix their problem. Okay? These people were multi-millionaires. I have no idea how many $1 million that house was worth. And the woman said, I've got to leave him. I can't stand it anymore. I have to leave while I still have enough strength to leave. I feel myself getting weaker and weaker and weaker. I don't know how much damage he has done the kids. This guy was a German guy, and his parents had been very strict with him. And he honestly believed that his role as a father was to correct those kids and to stay on them. People, don't you know, no matter how long your kids work in the bedroom to clean it all up, can't you go in and find something wrong? Can you? Or they should have done it faster. And so that's what he did. No matter what they did, he was a perfectionist. And there's no way to be perfect, so everybody's an automatic failure, right? And so he was criticizing everybody all the time. She says, I can't stand it, and I filed for divorce. I've got the papers, and I've done it, and I've done it in the past, but this time I'm going through with it. I've got to do something to save me and save my kids, and we're going to kick him out. Now, Mr. Jones, while you're here over the weekend, I want you to talk to him and fix him. I said, I left my fairy dust at home. But I will work with him, and so I brought him in. And I'm always very sugarcoat everything. So I sat him down and said, your wife's filing for divorce, and you're going to get booted out of your home in a few weeks. He goes, right in the solar plexus. And I says, yeah, she's very serious about it. You are so critical. I'm not critical. I go around and I help people, Do these people that are so critical understand how much damage they do, how damaging their comments are?
No.
They have no clue of how and they cut, and they hurt, and they drive the knife into the heart, and they crush them, and they just hurt them, and they grind, and there's no mercy, and it never quits. People don't like to be around people like that. Critical people are miserable people. They're hateful people to be around. And we who endure them have a real task, don't we? I came from a very critical home. And criticism is terrible. So I told this guy, we'll work on this. He was a perfectionistic. He was very religious, very high up in his church. He was frugal. He was what we call a producer. Boy, he got things done. He was a mover and a shaker, a powerful man in the community. And the wife said, I'm going through with it. I don't care what the in-laws say. I don't care what my parents says. I don't care what the church says. I don't care what anybody says. I've got to get out of here. I'm leaving. So he was a great guy, this John B. Wright. Super critical. His family couldn't stand him. And they're going to dump him. And they said, okay, Mr. Jones, work your magic. I said, don't have anything like that. And if he's willing to work, we can work. If he's not, she said, we've been to counseling for years and nothing works. If there's one thing you want to look out for as a counselor, it's when somebody comes and said, I've been to all kinds of counselors and nobody can help me. I say, goodbye. What are you coming to me for? that shows the whole thing, all this counseling meant nothing to them. It's not the counselors who work the magic. It's the person. And it's their healing. And they've got to study. And if they're not willing to study and change and work, get out of my office. Stop wasting my time. You just make me angry. Right? You get it.
Exactly.
And this is your job. Don't come in here and tell me the counselors didn't work, you clown. Always very nice to everybody. All right. Okay, here's the one solution for criticism. I said, we'll set this up. They said, what is it? And I said, family council. Get on in here, you everybody. And I pulled out this money. And I says, tomorrow morning, Papa is going to put 50 $1 bills in his pocket. Just like this. And every time you think he's critical of anything you say or do, you hold up your finger and you say, Papa, that was one. And Papa, you rush over to that kid. And you give him $1. And you say, I am sorry. That was a criticism. I was wrong. Will you forgive me? And then you give them hugs and you tell them 2 or 3 things why they're so wonderful. And if you don't do it fast enough or you say that wasn't a criticism, they say that's 2. And you give them double. And you have to smile. You've got to smile when you do it or it's double. And who is the sole judge of whether that was a discount or a put down? The person who claims it. They have absolute control. And he says, I'm not going to do that. And I says, well, it gets better, you know. Let's look at this. The first week, it's $1 bills. The second week, hot shot, it goes to $5 bills. Now he's carrying around how much, rocket scientists? $250 to keep his big mouth shut. Is that right? The kid said, you're kidding? By summer week, I'll have enough money to go around the world. You know, this is great. And mother says, for me too, especially for mother. Especially for mother. And this guy is so stingy. He's probably got the first nickel he made when he was 2. You know what I mean? He's probably not spent it. Is this going to hurt him? He says, that's terrible. And I says, I want this to hurt you. I want you to think when you're shelling out this money that you're passing a kidney stone. I want this to kill you. Do you understand? It's punishing and it's reinforcing to those kids. And it's correcting and asking for forgiveness. Teeny behavioral modification technique. Very simple. The next week, there's $10 bills. The week after that, it's 20. The week after that, it's 50. And you get up to week 6, you ought to have a lot of practice. We're going for $100. Pretty soon, he'd just say, I can't afford to be critical. Now, you may not do it like this. You may do it with 50 cents and $1 or $3 or whatever it is for your family. But you make sure you do it. And I will promise you, if you will do this faithfully, that you will get on top of this thing and you'll run criticism out of your home. This is so powerful and so simple. It's just like some people say, I am an alcoholic and I went to 2 meetings and I realized it's wrong and now I'm cured. You stay with it. I've had people call me, we fixed it, I'm not critical anymore. I say, stay with the program. That's an excuse to dump it, isn't it? You stay with it. My wife says, I heard about your stupid program. How come we can't do it? And I says, I don't want to take all your money. She says, that's one. People, this is so powerful, so simple, that if you'll do it with 25 cents, what it does, it gives you a chance to hug your kids and hug your wife. Say, I am sorry, that was wrong. Will you forgive me? I shouldn't be critical like that. And some of us have been trained in our families of origin to be critical. And that is our role. That is our passion. That's what we do with our lives. Do you understand? We can't live without criticism. Criticism is an addiction. It's a way we vent. It's a way we lower our anxiety. It becomes as addictive as cocaine. And some people cannot control it. And it's destructive and it will destroy our homes and destroy our relationships. People do not want to be intimate and close to people who are critical. I want you to think of one thing. There's a synonym for criticism. And whenever I say criticism, I want you to think of the word rejection. Because that's exactly what criticism is. It is rejection. And those of us who have been raised in these families and who have this tattoo on us have to try and try and try. I was so critical and so controlling, I drove my kids away. And I was just doing what I thought I should do. Now, some of them were strong enough to love me and still come back and still take a beating as I'm into their lives and critical and trying to manage everything. I figured God put me on the world to fix everybody, you know? Everybody else is a moron. They can't figure anything out. I'm going to do it. And if I wasn't there, they'd lose their heads. And I was creating dependency and insulting. Can criticism become addictive? We had a big thing. We had 500 people in a classroom, in a big assembly. And we said, how many want to stop criticism forever? And they all raised their hands. We said, okay, this week, nobody will be critical all week. All right? Everybody agreed. Not say one critical word all week. Is that okay? They all agreed, yes, we'll try it. And now next week, you'll come back here and you'll report. Okay, we will do that. The next week, 500 people came back. How many went all week and didn't criticize once? No hands. Then a couple hands went up. Really? We've never had anybody do that. Tell us. This one lady says, well, I stopped criticizing and I just didn't have anything else to say to anybody. It was all criticism. That's our manner. Another lady says, I couldn't even stop criticizing 1 second. Before we got out of the parking lot, old dummy, talking about her husband. Already telling him already being critical. They can't stop it. This one lady raised her hand and said, I wasn't critical of my family all week. Really? Tell us. Her husband stood up and says, she went back east to visit her folks. She wasn't even home last week. Sit down. I want to tell you, it is an addiction. Do you believe me? It is an addiction just like cocaine. And worse, because it destroys others. Destroys our relationships. Destroys our marriages. Destroys the confidence our children have. Because when we're critical, they take an image from our criticism that they're really not okay.